Don't get the
Okay.
outside.
Yeah. Just
Kind of.
here.
Other access roads though, so.
Okay, I'd like to call this library board meeting to order at 9 a.m. on August the 14th, 2025. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. So I'm looking for a mover and seconder that the library board approves the agenda for today's date, August 14th, 2025. Mover from Nick and seconder from Jane. Any questions regarding the agenda? Not seeing any. All in favor? Okay, carried. Does anyone have a conflict of interest they wish to declare at this time? Not seeing any hands. We can move on to item 4, which is the minutes of the previous meeting. So previous meeting was June the 6th. No, sorry, June the 12th. I got the numbers mixed up. So do we have a mover and seconder for the previous minutes? Patricia moves, seconded by Nick. Any questions regarding those minutes as printed? Not seeing any. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Moving on to presentations. So we have two wonderful people here, Nadine and AJ. I think you were in county council yesterday, were you?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, well, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, so we did the TD Summer Reading Club this year. Yeah, you can go on to the next slide. Oh, once we get it perfect. Wonderful. Okay, so yeah, my name is Nadine. This is my 3rd year doing the TD Summer Reading Program. I have really enjoyed this opportunity to do it. This will be my last year being able to be a part of this. Yeah, it's been the highlight of my summers. Yeah, I've really enjoyed the ability to be able to connect with all the kids around the county, especially seeing them multiple summers in a row and hearing all of their stories and being creative with them. It's been really wonderful. It's also made a really meaningful impact towards my future education and career goals. A couple years ago, I started thinking about the possibility of doing a master's of library science after I finish my undergrad. And the experience that I've had working with the library these past summers has really solidified that decision. Seeing the impact that the public library makes with the communities and the enjoyment that the kids get out of all the programming, it's just made a lot of difference to me, and I've been really enjoying it. So yeah, thank you for this opportunity also.
I'm AJ, and this is my 2nd year on the program. My first year was in 2021 when it was online for COVID. So it was a bit of a different job than it has been this year. So I've really appreciated and enjoyed getting to do this program for real. And it's been nice kind of coming into that because it's been 4 years since 2021. So I thought that I knew more coming in than I did. And thankfully with Nadine's experience, it really carried us over quite well. I'm in school for Teachers College at Brock University, just entering my final year of Teachers College concurrent education program. So this job's just kind of helped me figure out just the kind of like educator I want to be, the kind of like adult to children that I want to be, like how I want to treat them, how I want the relationship to go to make sure it's like most beneficial for them in their development. And this job's really helped me improve upon that from where I've been in prior years. Next slide. So our theme for this year, this comes from TV, of course, and that was around the world. And this was kind of nice because it gave us a chance to bring a lot of diversity in through the stories that we told, through like the subject matter, the authors, basically like every single part of the program. We're able to bring in so much more because it was such a diverse subject matter area. And we have our weekly themes as well that we get to have some more choice over. Our first one, we started out pretty broad, adventuring around the world. And during that week, we got to talk about like the Galapagos Islands and the diversity there. We did games around the world for the next week, and that was pretty cool as well, just to show the kids that there are so much more games than that which we know in Huron County. We had animals around the world, which that's just always a favorite for kids because every kid has a favorite animal that they love. We did like land, sea, and sky around the world, more so as like natural environments, just to keep it a bit more like simple and directed. But that one was fantastic. We had food around the world, and that week had some really amazing stuff I can't wait to tell you about. We did sports around the world, which was kind of nice for those kids who come to the reading club but might not be the most avid readers because sports is more of their thing. So that was like a nice little week for those kinds of kids. We are currently in music around the world right now, which has been a really fun week with the museum joining us. And mail around the world is our final week, and that will be next week, which is super exciting.
So for the preparations, I started my role 2 weeks before AJ began. So with my past experience, I was really able to get a very good head start on that, even just working on my own. So in this time, we were able to reach out to over 130 Canadian publishers and local bookstores, asking for donations for our end of summer book prize. And we actually ended up receiving over 400 books as donations to give out, including so many very beautiful picture books that AJ and I are pretty jealous of these kids' prizes. They're so gorgeous. We're really excited for that. We organized the weekly themes, chose books, crafts, and activities to go with them, found the best way to get all of our supplies for that to fit within our budget. We set up visits with 19 local schools, doing classroom visits and assemblies all over Huron County, reaching over 3,000 children to tell them about the Huron County Library and the Summer Reading Club. That was, as always, very fun. We had lots of really, really cute questions after our presentations. We also introduced ourselves and our program to parents, branch staff, and club participants through FAQs, introduction videos, and also frequent updates sending out over email and social media.
So then the actual format of our club and how we carried it out was 18 sessions across all 12 Huron County Library branches between Mondays and Fridays every week. We started the first week of July, which also had Canada Day. So we had to kind of shift things around for that, but otherwise it was very good. It's ages 4 to 12 and it's 1 hour per session. The larger branches like Wingham, Goderich, and a few others, they get 2 sessions a week just because there are more kids that are able to attend than we can actually fit in the rooms usually, while smaller branches just got 1. We usually would start with a story every week after doing our let's get all of our little reading logs checked. We would do our story and then we would follow up with our craft before finishing with a game. And all of these would be coordinated as best we could around the theme for that week to keep it topical. There's a take-home bingo sheet that Nadine made that was pretty awesome, where there's different activities that the kids could do, and there was a lot of diverse activities. So there's a little something for everyone, and they get prizes in exchange for their bingos. And that was a really good motivator, I think, to keep them participating and trying new things in the summer instead of just going on devices. And there's, of course, the take-home reading log to track their reading progress. That way we can kind of give them their extrinsic motivators in exchange for their reading. Next slide. So one of them is the Read a Beat Challenge. So for every chapter they read, book they read, or if they are read to by a parent or consume audiobooks, they can get a bead onto the name tags that we make. And in the end, we ended up giving out so many beads. It's a very good incentive. And it also, like, for the big readers, when they have a full name tag, like, they know that they've been reading a ton, and it kind of gets them to keep on doing it because it pushes them further. And we ended up filling up so many name tags with beads. It's actually been insane. I didn't think I could see that many beads in one room. It's been amazing. Next slide. We have the collaborative reading mural. So usually this is something that happens every summer with the program, and it's a way for the libraries to kind of track their sessions throughout the weeks and have some more physical showing of the reading other than just the beads on the name tags. This year we just went for like a reading chain for like a read around the world theme. And due to like how busy it was, we didn't get on it as much as we maybe could have, but I think it still worked out as best it could have because it's been a very busy and hectic summer, but it was a good one. Next slide. And then for non-registered participants, for the kids that can't make it to the sessions because it is only an hour every week, that we had a sheet here with all these planes, and every time they read a book or a chapter, they could fill in a plane with some colors, bring it in exchange for a prize. In prior years, that was a sticker, but some kids were kind of just sad and wanted something better. So we went through our prize closet and we found like these mini books that were received, I think last year or 2 years ago. And then those could be given as like a first round of prizes. Then after that, down to like stickers and similar things, but at least then there's something a bit bigger to work for. And that worked pretty well, we think. Next slide.
Yeah, so what's new this year, because of AJ and I's past experience, we were able to have a little bit more time to brainstorm how we can make this program exceed expectations and what can we add to it that would be exciting while still fitting within the budget. So we use this time to create collaborations with multiple new places. We were able to find an ice cream place in every single town that has a Huron County branch, reach out to all of them, and every single place we reached out to agreed to donate a couple of free ice cream tickets for us to hand out as prizes for our children. So we are able to hand out at least one free ice cream ticket a week per session to our kids, granted that they have read at least 20 books or chapters throughout so far in the summer. So this new element was a massive hit. Not only did we see kids reading a lot more for the purpose of winning that ice cream, but also we saw attendance stay more steady throughout the whole summer because they don't want to miss possibly having their name drawn at that session. So usually we see a dip throughout the summer in attendance, and this year it's been pretty steady. So that's been very exciting. It's also been a test in self-control for AJ and I to be driving around with a bag full of free ice cream tickets and not treat ourselves to a little ice cream treat. But we've been very strong, I think. We were also able to collaborate with Wellington City Library in New Zealand, but we'll have more on that later. So go on. Yeah, so these are the statistics as of 3 weeks into the program when we made this slideshow, but I have some updated numbers for as of last week, Thursday. So our total attendances, so every single week, every kid who comes added up has been 1,272, which has been really amazing. We saw a spike in Kirkton registrations after reaching out to the Kirkton homeschool group to do a presentation to them, which has been really, really successful. In past years, we've only had one family consistently come to the Kirkton group, and now we've had like 3 or 4, even 5 sometimes. It's been wonderful. About halfway through the summer, we were also able to work with the Howick Day Camp that runs in the same building as the library. And we welcome them to attend our session every week. So this brought 8 to 10 new kids to the Howick Library every week, which has also been fantastic because right now we have one kid who consistently comes. And so she loves that one-on-one attention, but we do want a bigger crowd. We've worked also with the Blue Water Day Camps in Hensel and Bayfield, and so that brings an extra 20 to 30 kids in every session they attend, which is about 4 sessions per day camp. So yeah, it's been good.
So with our themes to go more in depth, week 1 was adventuring around the world. So we read this lovely story called Take Your Time about a Galapagos tortoise. And that was, I think, a really great introduction because it was a more calm story that wasn't too silly and told a very sweet story about patience, which is a great skill for anyone to learn, let alone a child. For our craft that week, we do it pretty simple. We usually just make up the name tags and just go through the club just so the kids get a feel for things. And it was a resounding success. We had fantastic attendance even with the Canada Day holiday, and it was really quite productive. And for week 2, which was games around the world, we ended up reading a story about a Cherokee sport called stickball, which was kind of like lacrosse, but with its own unique twist. And it was really unique to see the way that the kids would figure out how the game worked as the story went on, and the way that a lot of them seemed like they kind of figured it out intuitively as well with what the players would do with their sticks. And that was really amazing. And we focused a lot on Indigenous culture, the relevance of play and how important that is to culture, as best you can to kids. But it went really, really well. We ended up playing some international games, such as one called Cheetah Cheetal from India. And that one went incredibly well, and the kids loved it, even though we had to modify it a bit to make it work in a library setting. And then our craft was like this cool ball and cup game that Nadine came up with. So that's like a take-home game, which the kids can get a lot more out of than like just a craft that might go in the garbage after the summer. So it was really fantastic.
Yeah. Our week 3 was Animals Around the World. We read the book The Ugly Five by Julia Donaldson. She also wrote The Gruffalo, so you know it's going to be a good book. That one was very fun. It's about some animals from South Africa, and so we had a good time hearing about all the kids' favorite animals around the world. Week 4, we talked about natural environments, and that was a really fun opportunity to teach the kids what a natural environment is and how we can think about them and like why they're important to our world. We read the book I'm a Meadow Mermaid, which was really sweet because we have a lot of kids who live in the country and who love running around in fields, and so that book did really well.
For week 5, we had food around the world, and this was a pretty awesome week as someone who really loves cooking and cuisine. And our craft this week was extra special, so I want to start with that. It was a texture-based craft, so it's visual impaired accessible. So it was all based on the feelings of the different materials they put on, like we had sandpaper, felt, squishy foam, pom-poms, all kinds of materials. And that lets kids get that tactile experience of the craft instead of like a more coloring or painting job. And then we read a book called Ramen for Everyone. And I'm not going to say the author's name because I will get it very bad. But ramen is a very unique cultural food because a lot of kids know what ramen is because they've had Mr. Noodles before, but they haven't seen true handmade ramen as this story demonstrates. And the story talks a lot about themes of family, connection, sharing food, and the importance of that across different cultures, as well as the importance of like trying and having perseverance as well. So it was a very great story for the kids. And then we did like little bingo games, so extra little prizes of small toys for the kids was pretty awesome, and they loved it. And week 6 was sports around the world. So we read a story called Lucy Tries Luge by Lisa Bowes. We also brought a second book in called Lucy Tries Short Track. They're pretty short books, so we thought they'd build well off each other. And because these are both Olympic sports, they work well for the idea of sports around the world because most of the countries on Earth come for the Olympics. So we ended up using those stories, and our craft and game were interlinked. We had the kids decorate like little tree cookies, like little wood discs with different like sports things or just their favorite colors and patterns as game pieces to use to create their own sport or game using these different game boards that Nadine and I ended up crafting up. And that went really well to get them using their imaginations, and it gave a little something for everybody.
It was wonderful to see all the different games that these kids came up with and how immediately they connected with that. It was really fun. Okay, we can go to the next one. So this week is Music Around the World. It's week 7. It's our second last week. Catherine from the Huron County Museum is joining us this week. Ben is also coming for a couple of the days. And it's been really fun because they're talking about the historic jail and the museum and talking about how you can get in free with your library card. And a lot of the kids love talking about the two-headed cow and the train. Yeah, we're also she also brought pictures of a lot of a couple of museum artifacts too, and so those are very cool to see. Our book comes with an app that plays different, like a couple minute symphony songs for each page about a different animal. And so what we do is we play the song, and the kids and I, or all of us together, we listen to see what kind of animal this song might be about. So we listened for different clues in the song, and we learn how music can tell a story through that. And then we look at the page. So it's a really fun way to tell a story that's different and not quite through words. It's going really well. So next week is Mail Around the World, and this is the one where we collaborated with Wellington City Libraries in New Zealand. I reached out to them in the first weeks of the program to see if maybe they'd want to participate in a letter exchange, and they were really, really enthusiastic. We had a Teams meeting with their children's librarian, and they set up this initiative called Kia Ora Canada, and they had sent over probably over 100 letters from the children in New Zealand, asking questions about Canada. Do you eat wolves? How do you survive in the winter?
Do you have sleepovers?
Do you have sleepovers? And they drew pictures. And so those arrived a couple weeks ago. And so next week we're gonna talk about New Zealand and talk about how the mailing system works. And then we're gonna write letters and send them back. So we're really, really excited for that. Their library also has 12 branches. And so it matches up perfectly with ours. We matched up each of our branches. So yeah. And then next week, we'll be giving out our book prizes, and we'll be giving out a prize for the winner of our Read-A-Beads, so the kid who read the most books or chapters throughout the week. And we'll say goodbye to our kids for the summer.
So for prizes, as Nadine briefly mentioned in the introduction, we've received almost 400 books, potentially more because we had some later arrivals that came in after we made this presentation from a lot of Canadian publishers. We added probably another 10 to 15 onto our contact list because just publishers come and go, especially smaller ones that might have popped up around the pandemic. And we found a ton of extra publishers that were willing to send us some amazing stories. Some of them were even like locally made. I believe there's an illustrator named Matthias Ball, I think, who was an illustrator on some of the books we most recently received, and we're super excited for that. We even reached out to the IODE Maple Leaf chapter in Goderich, and they were overjoyed to donate books. They gave us more than they promised and have given us extra like packages of them. And then we also have our raffle. So based on the bingo sheet that we've made, the kids can either choose to get a prize for a bingo or an entry to a raffle draw that we pull at the end of the summer. And we have like 30 or so prizes, such as like Lego sets, stuffed animals. There's ice cream vouchers because we got a lot of them from some companies. We have park theater vouchers for Goderich, where they sent us 2 free movie tickets. We have some bookmarks and water bottle stickers and smaller stuff as well, depending on how many draws we do. But we do have like about 200 entries onto the bingo draw already, where kids are very interested in trying to win a big prize. And I think that that's also been a big motivator for them to keep on coming out, because now there's so many more extrinsic motivators, which are better for young children to keep on doing things like learning and reading, that they've really like latched onto the program more firmly. So it's been incredibly productive, and we have some absolutely amazing prizes that like Nadine said, we're kind of jealous that we don't get to keep for ourselves.
Yeah, so we've had such a blast bringing this program to Huron County's kids over the summer. We felt very loved by these kids, receiving little gifts of coloring pages and little crafts that they've brung to us. We've hung them up in our office. It's a wonderful little wall we have now. They're truly a joy to get to spend the summer with and teach about the wonders of reading. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for being here. You've been busy.
Yes.
I love the collaboration with the local businesses as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because obviously they're going to go in with a parent. A parent's probably going to be nice, right? So there's business to be had by giving those gift cards out. My question to you is, do you have any of those gift cards for us? I was going to say whoever asked the best question gets the ice cream.
A Jerry
Yeah.
Frosty.
For sure. I'll open it up to board members for any questions. Patricia.
It's not a question. I just wanted to say you guys are impressive. You're really articulate, so it was a very easy presentation to follow. And I think you'll do very well in your chosen fields. But I think what really, really impressed me with this is the innovation. I mean, this is a program that's been on for a while, and you added new elements to it, which I thought was really brilliant. And I particularly like the audiobook aspect as well, because that increases accessibility a great deal. So just kudos is really all I have to say.
Amazing. Any other board members? Nick? Yeah.
As Patricia said, I think you guys have blown past any expectations by a clear country mile. Kudos. But I do have one question. Why Wellington? Like how can you walk me through that process?
I want to go to New Zealand someday. And so if I go there, I can go and visit the library and be like, remember me? It's just purely me reasons. I was looking for a lot of different places we could reach out. I wanted to be an English speaking country so that our letters didn't have to be translated. And then it was just pick one and reach out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm glad to hear it worked out.
Yeah, me too. It was really fun.
Helena, you had your hand up?
Yes, I have a question. It's an amazing program that has brought in a lot of and engaged a lot of kids, but that comes with challenges. How do you challenge the oldest kids whilst keeping it simple enough for the youngest ones? And the other part of the question is, do you see kids from diverse families, or is it pretty much white?
Yeah, so yeah, it is a big challenge to be able to find crafts and games and books that both will engage 4-year-olds and also 12-year-olds, because there's a really big range of abilities within that. We try and find crafts that have elements that are simple enough that 4-year-olds can do them. So a lot of them have coloring aspects, and then they have additional parts that the older kids can choose to also do on their own, and then we'll have maybe some crafts that we have already done those steps beforehand for the 4-year-olds. A lot of the 12-year-olds have also come and reached out to us and asked us if they could be helpers in the program. And so we love that, because it's always good to have an extra set of hands. And the kids love that because they love feeling helpful. And so those are kids where I can ask them to help me pass out papers or help us to clean up, get up, put the markers back in the bin afterwards. And so that's been a really good part. Yeah, or help other kids put the beads on their name tag. So it's a lot of seeing what kids might be sitting there looking a little bored and trying to figure out what we can do to engage them a little more.
It works pretty well, honestly, like Nadine said, especially like because a lot of kids do want to help. They want to feel responsible. They want to feel productive, like they're doing something, because they're reaching age of maturity, those like 11, 12-year-olds. And a lot of the time they have younger siblings that come along with them, and they'll really help them out a lot. So like Nadine said, like it's actually worked out fantastically. Like we have pretty good retention for our older kids, to be honest.
Do you want to talk to the second part of the question?
Could you repeat the second part of the question, just to make sure I...
Diversity.
Diversity. So overall, it is Huron County. So if they weren't the most diverse, there definitely were kids from varied backgrounds, it was still like more than 50% white. Part of the thing that could factor into that is the timing and scheduling of the program, just because it is during work hours. So it might be harder for families of varied socioeconomic statuses to get in addition to the fact that the county, its diversity is growing and burgeoning, but still just not fully there yet. But compared to at least like the Zoom calls that I did in 2021, there was a more diverse group in attendance, but sample size doesn't really count for that.
We've also seen a lot of diversity in terms of ability. We have a couple of kids come to our extra program who are vision impaired, and so it's been really helpful to try and find ways that we can promote accessibility for them. And so part of that has been reaching out to the parents. So I know this kid because they've come in past years. And so we reached out to their parents before they registered and asked if they were planning on registering so we could prepare things in advance for them, which was really helpful. And the parents said that it was really meaningful that we did that. And so that was wonderful. Yeah, we do also have kids come of lots of different family structures too. We have a lot of grandparents dropping off kids. We have a lot of kids of single parent families coming, and a lot of kids who have like babysitters or older siblings coming and dropping them off. And so that's been really good to see that it's been accessible. A lot of those people enjoy staying in the library during that hour. We've seen a lot of parents stay and use the computers during the time or sit and read a book. And so that's been really good to see also, yeah.
Amazing. Any other questions from board members? Nick?
Yeah, just one more, and this is kind of a personal curiosity. I think you mentioned Kirkton homeschooling group or something like that. How is that a common thing throughout the county? Like, and is that because I guess I'd never considered how challenging it would be to actually reach out to the homeschooled kids. So
Yeah, we're actually I'm not sure how common it is. The person who's been consistently coming to our Kirkton group runs the Kirkton homeschool group. And so she asked last summer if we would be able to organize a get together. And so that's how we were able to initiate that. But yeah, I'm sure there are homeschool groups around the county that we could reach out to next year. It's a thing to put in the transition report for next year.
Most certainly. And just to add on like that, the group in Kirkton, they attend the library quite heavily as well. So they are in touch with the librarians pretty well, and that allows them to be aware of the programs we run. If other homeschool groups don't like patronize the library as much, there might not be as many opportunities for it. But like Nadine said, if we can like get into the transition report for next year to track down more of them, it could really uptick, especially in a place like Howick that is a bit more like segregated as a library from the rest of the community.
Okay. Any other questions? Not seeing any. Well, thank you for being here. Great presentation and great answers to all the questions as well. So yeah, I wish you the best, moving forward with whatever, you said you're going to school for teachers college, correct? And Nadine, sorry, you're going to go to New Zealand. Is that the?
I'd love to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing a master's of library science after my
Amazing.
undergrad.
Well, all the best and thank you for all the work that you've done.
Thank you.
So I will read the recommended motion that Huron County Library Board receives a presentation by Nadine and AJ titled Summer Reading Program Update as presented for information. Do I have a mover, please? Moved by Patricia, seconded by Helena. All in favor? Carried. Up next is item 6, which is board member comments. You can leave, yeah, if you want. We're not going to force you to stay unless the ice cream for you or something. But yeah, at this time, does any board member have any questions or comments? Now let's see. Oh, Helena, yes?
Yeah, this is a kind of a simple question regarding the MOUs. And but this is comes from the conversation circle. Should we be doing an MOU with the Huron County Library or with each branch?
Are you able to?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. It's a little bit of both. It's essentially the MOU will be with the Huron County Library, but it will be established at the branch level. So we may have MOUs with different groups based on the library they're operating out of, but the agreement will be with the Huron County Library because that is the entity that we are. We're not the Goderich branch as its own entity. So as far as the staff contacts and that type of information that would be in the MOU, it would be locally based, but overall the memorandum of understanding would be with the Huron County Library.
Thank you very much. That's very helpful.
Any other board members, comments or questions? Not seeing anyone, so we'll move on to reports from the library staff, and there are 4 there. So the first one is the Ontario Library Association Strategic Plan. And we know who's going to present it. She's presenting everything today, right? As usual. So,
Thank you through you, Mr. Chair. This is simply being shared for board member information so that they have a good understanding of the direction that the Ontario Library Association is planning to go over the next several years.
so any questions for Beth regarding it? Not seeing any hands, so recommended motion is Huron County Library Board accepts the report by Beth Rumble, titled Ontario Library Association Strategic Plan as presented for information. Do I have a mover, please? Sydney moves, seconded by Nick. Okay. All in favor? Carried. Item 2 is Huron County Asset Management Plan.
Thank you again through you, Mr. Chair. This was presented to County Council. It's being shared to ensure that the library board fully understands the financial environment that the county operates within. And I did also want to highlight the library portion or inclusion in this plan. Our facilities are owned by the local municipalities, so those are not included, but assets that we do have included are pieces such as our furniture and fixtures, our shelving, as well as our material collections are considered capital items as well. We do already have a well-established regular replacement schedule for our collections. So that will continue to be an ongoing refresh that we do with respect to that. We do also have annually a smaller amount of funds for regular branch refreshes with respect to furniture that we do annually. So this year there's $15,000 allocated in the budget for the Clinton branch. Where we don't have a regular update cycle currently established is with respect to our shelving. So that's something that we may want to consider moving forward. Shelving tends to be expensive, so it may be something over several years to set aside the appropriate amount to make those kind of improvements. A good example, if you haven't been into the Clinton branch in the last 6 months or so, the impact that improved shelving can make, particularly in Clinton, it's a lower shelving, which makes the branch feel brighter and lighter, but it also increases sight lines. So that is something that we will probably want to consider in the future is in regards to our shelving across the branches.
Okay, any questions regarding that? Not seeing any hands, so I'll read the recommended motion that Huron County Library Board receives a report by Beth Rumble titled Huron County Asset Management Plan as presented for information. Do I have a mover, please? Moved by Warden by Patricia. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Up next is item 3, July to September 2025 events outside library hours.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. This is a standard report that we bring forward to the library board to ensure that you are aware of anything that is happening outside of regularly scheduled library hours. Some of these our programs have already occurred and some are still upcoming, and all are happening within already scheduled staff hours. So there is no budget impact to anything that's outlined in the report.
Okay, any questions regarding that? Busy, right? Yeah. Okay, I'll read the recommended motion. Huron County Library Board accepts the report by Beth Rumble. September 25 events outside library hours as presented for information. Do I have a mover, please? Moved by Jane, seconded by Sydney. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. And then 4 is the monthly update, May to June.
Thank you through you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of pieces that I'll draw your attention to in this reports. A lot of really great quotes are included in this month's report that are really nice to see the impacts the library is having on the community in a variety of ways. You'll also see in that update report that we had many very impactful Pride activities happening across our branches in the month of June, which was really lovely to see, and some of those were partnership activities as well. We also have in Goderich branch, the makerspace has opened. So if you have an opportunity to stop by there, I'm sure staff would be happy to show you some of the new technology that we have available to the public. And lastly, just to touch on the Seaforth renos that were occurring right at the end of June and into July, but they were completed for the most part. There may be some small minor cosmetic things that still need to be finished in time for the Seaforth homecoming that happened over the civic holiday weekend. So we're really excited about the changes there. And again, if you have an opportunity to stop by the Seaforth branch, They have removed collections. The majority of the collections are upstairs. If you can think back to our board tour a couple of years ago, downstairs is more of the media, the computers, as well as the new Ontario Genealogical Society collection that has moved from the log cabin that is in front of the museum is now in Seaforth. So we're really excited about those changes, and the space feels larger from my perspective. So it's really exciting to see those changes.
It's good when you can turn a space and make it feel larger,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. Any questions regarding that? Jane and then Patricia.
It's more a comment. I was at the library yesterday and it does feel bigger. Like, I don't know, it was apparently the librarians come.
Okay.
Amazing.
And they have room for more shelving, which they certainly didn't expect. And what I saw too was a lot of it, now that the adult fiction is upstairs, we saw a lot more interaction between the kids playing in the play area and the adults browsing for books. So it was really nice to see.
Thank you for sharing that. Patricia.
I just wanted to say this, reading the report this time was really uplifting. It was just want to remark on how amazing a number of things going on. The quotes were amazing and the activities were great. So I was just really impressed with it this month.
Thank you. Helena, you had a question as well or comment?
Okay, two things. One is under that supporting tasks, information services, librarian, contract with MicroAge to replace 4. I think we need to drop the 4. But the other question is, the stats seem to go up and up and up, which is good. But are there, do we have goals for those numbers? And how are they affected by people dropping off, expiring memberships, people moving away?
Able to provide comments to that, Beth, or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we don't have explicit goals of, for example, circulation numbers that we are trying to hit or programming numbers that we are trying to hit. Specifically with programming, the goal is very much that it is informed by the needs of the community, whether that's through the conversations that we have through the libraries transforming communities and or being on the front lines and embedded in the communities. Our local staff are very well aware of what the local needs are. And so our goal is to meet those needs. With circulation, absolutely, we want people using the library. In our strategic plan, we have indicated that we want to increase the communication so that more people are aware of all of the materials and services that we offer. So there's no percentage increase goal or anything like that, other than we want to make sure, perhaps the next time that we do a public survey, that we are finding there's greater awareness with respect to what the library offers in the community.
You good with that, Helena?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Sydney, yes.
So I'd also like to make 2 comments if I can.
Mhm.
So I was able to attend the Makerspace event and book sale in Goderich, and I just want to say it was incredible. I shouldn't be surprised, but it was incredibly well organized, like the way that everything was laid out in the different zones where you could try out the 3D printer, you could try out the Cricut, look at the VR headsets. It was amazing. And in particular, I want to make sure that I compliment Danielle and Rachel, who I spoke to at the event. I'm sure the entire team was very knowledgeable about the equipment that was there and about what the Makerspace event was all about. But in speaking with both of them, they were both very knowledgeable. Danielle did a great job of explaining the little scavenger hunt and how you're to gather like the little stamps as you go around the library. And Rachel, she assisted me with making my very first button and answering all of my questions about how I can go online and get certified and what days Goderich branch will be doing those certifications. So I just wanted to extend a big kudos to that event.
as I said, well organized. The team was so knowledgeable and it was so fun. So it was very cool to read that there was over 300 people in attendance because that was amazing. And the other thing I want to mention, it's kind of cultural services adjacent here. I had a friend of mine visit for the Canada Day long weekend. He came from Puerto Rico. He has never been to Canada before, and he somehow ended up in Huron County. I said, I think normally people visit Toronto, and he said, well, I'm coming to Huron County to visit you and all of our friends. So we took a tour of the Huron County Museum, the jail. We went to the Multicultural Festival, and of course, we had to stop at a library branch. But I just want to say we had a really fantastic time, and it was very exciting to see that experience through someone else's perspective. He was really in awe of all of the things that were offered, and I know he made a couple of comments about, you said you live in a small town, like there's so much going on, there's so much happening. But yeah, it was very cool to see him in this space and have such a great time. And he was truly in awe of a lot of the things that the library offered. And speaking to his own experience taking his daughter to the library, he said, we don't have as many services as the Huron County branches have. He was surprised by the VR headsets, the Nintendo Switch, the online resources, and just how big the libraries were. So wanted to pass along some of those comments, and it was just cool to see everything through his eyes and see what a great community we have in cultural services experience. So wanted to pass that along.
Love that. Can we have a library board to start my day every because this is like very positive stuff. But to your point, Sydney, about some of the comments he made,
Yeah.
I find that we take things in life for granted,
Mhm.
right? What we have around us because we're so used to the space that we're in, and we don't, sometimes we don't understand how good we really have it,
Mhm.
right? And then when you have other people that come from other countries
Exactly.
and they see what what we have, and 10 times out of 10, they're always saying like the newcomers event that's coming up here shortly. They're so grateful to be here or be able to visit here and very complimentary of what we have. So thanks for sharing those comments. Yeah. Yeah. Any other comments or questions regarding that? No? Okay. I'll move on to the recommended motion that Huron County Library Board receives a report from Beth Rumble titled Monthly Update, May to June 2024 as presented for information. Is that correct, the date? 2024? No, 2025. Yeah, okay, so we'll get that switched, right? Luvisa?
We will.
Okay, a mover, please. Jane moves, seconded by Nick. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Up next is item 8, which is the policy review, draft service delivery model policy update presented by Beth Rumble.
Thank you through you, Mr. Chair. This is an update of this policy that is overdue. It hasn't been updated in almost 10 years. So there are some revisions to reflect current library service. And it really does articulate the various service levels that are offered at our branches across the county.
Okay, thank you. Any questions regarding that? Helena? She's muted. Oh, you're muted here, Helena?
Unmuted.
Yeah, there you
Sorry
go.
about that.
Okay.
Yeah. I like the way that this is laid out and it's very consistent what we're trying to do. But there's one question under the comprehensive libraries or comprehensive branches. I have to get my language correct here. But it says comprehensive branches provide programs informed by the needs of their community and advance library strategic priorities. So is it programs or branches or programs and advance library? And it somehow it doesn't scan. It's programs informed by makes sense, and advance is it's not parallel structure, so it's not quite sure what advances library strategic priorities. Does that make sense?
Comment? Yeah.
Yeah, I think through the chair, when we review the draft before bringing it back to the board, we will look at the sentence structure in that particular part and see if adjustments need to be made. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for bringing that forward, Helena. Any other questions or comments? Not seeing any, so I'll move forward to the recommended motion that Huron County Library Board accepts the report by Beth Rumble titled Draft Service Delivery Model Policy Update as presented for information, and further that the draft service delivery model policy be brought to the October board meeting for approval. Do I have a mover, please? Sydney moves, seconded by Helena. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Correspondence, there are no correspondence. Moving on to financial statements. They were all there for everyone to see. Lisa's not here, so we'll just move to the motion unless there's any questions.
Yep.
Any questions regarding financials? Not seeing any hands, so motion is the draft financial statements for the month ending June 30th, 2025 be received for information. I have a mover, please. Nick moves, seconded by Jane. All in favor? Carried. We don't have close to the public session. Next meeting, if you can believe it, will be October the 8th, which seems really odd to me. I don't know why. Like it's August 14th already. Like when I was driving here, I'm like, it's August 14th. It was August 1st. Like it's not felt like yesterday.
Yep.
Right. So we're the middle of August, but our next meeting is October 8th, 2025. And the leaves on the trees will be turning colors by then. So we hope all can attend. And, you know, for some people, the favorite part of the meeting is the adjournment. Do I have a mover? So we will adjourn at 9:46 a.m. Quickly moved by Warden Heffer. Do I have a second to that motion? Seconded by Nick. All in favor? Thank you, everyone. Good meeting.